In the universe of Dune, there are quite a few things that were left unexplained intentionally. For example, we don't know where sandworms really came from or if they were aliens. There were also those dangerous and most mysterious enemies called the Ones of Many Faces, those that exist beyond the borders of the Imperium. So, here in this video we will showcase 6 of the biggest unsolved and unexplained mysteries of Frank Herbert's Dune. So let's get to it. The first one, what is the true origins of the sandworms? In the world of Dune and its sequels, the true origin of this sandworm, the Shai-Hulud, is never clearly explained, and that's actually part of the mystery. Sandworms and their early form, the sand trout, are said to have been introduced to the planet of Arrakis long before recorded history. But who introduced them and from where they came from is never answered. Even Leto II Atreides, the God Emperor, who had access to countless ancestral memories, doesn't give a clear answer. That suggests that the event might have happened so far back or so secretly that no one in human history remembers it or even knows it. Because of this, fans are left to guess. Some think that it is an unknown alien species who have brought the sand trout to Arrakis for unknown reasons. But as we all know, Dune is a setting where aliens don't really exist, at least intelligent aliens. Others believe it could have been ancient humans experimenting with ecology or genetics long before the known empire existed, that actually genetically engineered these massive creatures, but even that has big plot holes. There's also the idea that the sand trout arrived naturally, maybe carried by asteroids, similar to real-world panspermia theories about life spreading between planets or star systems. What makes the mystery deep is that the sandworms are tightly linked to the creation of spice, one of the most important substances in this universe, so it's hard to imagine such a powerful life cycle evolving by accident or going unnoticed elsewhere. Another important detail that makes the mystery even more interesting is that the sandworms might be the only truly alien life form in this universe. Across the Imperium, almost every living thing we see, like humans, animals, and even many strange creatures, are directly descended or genetically engineered from life forms from Earth. They might have been genetically modified by humans over thousands of years, so while the worlds may look exotic, their life is still rooted in familiar, Earth-based biology, at least by origins. Even the very alien-like navigators, which do not resemble humans anymore, are still just humans in the end. But sandworms of Arrakis don't seem to fit that pattern at all. Their biology is completely unique, as their life cycle with sand trouts and the subsequent phases, their ability to transform the whole planet into a desert, and their role in producing spice have clearly no connection to Earth life at all. Nothing else in the Imperium works quite like them. That's why many readers see them as the only true alien species in this setting. Everything else feels like an extension of humanity, but the sandworms feel like something other, something truly alien. So the true origins of the sandworms and whether or not they are the only aliens in this setting is one of the few big unsolved mysteries of Frank Herbert's Dune. Okay, the second mystery. What is the fate of Old Earth? In the universe of Dune, the fate of Earth, also called Old Terra, is one of the biggest unanswered mysteries. By the time of Paul Atreides, people already treat Earth as something distant and half forgotten. It's known as the place where humanity began the cradle, but very little real knowledge is known about it, or anything about it survives till this date. As the timeline moves forward to God Emperor of Dune, Earth has been faded even further into myth. Leto II Atreides remembers it through his ancestral memories, but even he speaks of it as something that is gone, or no longer truly part of the known universe anymore. The books never clearly say what happened, whether Earth was destroyed in some ancient war, ruined by environmental collapse, or simply abandoned as humans spread to countless other planets. This lack of detail makes Earth feel less like a real place and more like a lost legend, similar to how we think of ancient civilizations today, but on a much bigger, galactic scale. Some expanded materials try to fill the gaps, especially the Dune Encyclopedia. That book suggests that Earth was heavily damaged, possibly made uninhabitable, or even set aside as a kind of a protected museum planet, a sanctuary where only a few or no humans are allowed to live. However, these explanations are not considered canon. The main reason is that they were not written by Frank Herbert himself. the original 6 novels are treated as the primary source. The encyclopedia and the ones written by his son Brian Herbert and his friend Anderson are kinda like soft canon. The encyclopedia is written as an in-universe document, meaning it reflects what people think happened, but not necessarily what actually did. Just like how real history books can be incomplete or wrong, its versions of events might be inaccurate. Because of this, later works and readers don't treat it as a final answer. In the end, the fate of Earth is left deliberately unclear, adding to the deeper theme of Dune that even a powerful spacefaring civilization can lose track of its own origins and past. The third mystery: how far in the future is Dune? So the story of Dune is set incredibly far in the future, that's for sure, but the exact date isn't given in a simple way. The year is often shown like 10,191 AG, which is not based on our modern calendar. Instead, it counts from the founding of the Spacing Guild, one of the most important organizations in the Imperium. So when we see the year 10,191, it really means 10,191 years after the Guild was created, not after the birth of Christ or anything tied to Earth's usual timeline. When you add that to how far in the future the Guild itself was formed, most fans estimate that Paul Atreides' story takes place roughly around the year 20,000 or 22,000 AD or even later. That means humanity has had tens of thousands of years to spread across the galaxy to evolve and completely reshape its cultures. Later books like Chapter House Dune give small clues that support this idea. For example, a character in Chapter House Dune mentions that Judaism is about 30,000 years old, even though in our modern time, it's only around 4,000 years old. That suggests that Dune timeline is at least 25 or 26,000 years ahead of us. Over such a huge stretch of time, Earth itself becomes almost forgotten, and most religions and cultures have changed, merged, or disappeared. New belief systems like those in the Orange Catholic Bible take their place and blends parts of older traditions into something new. So while Dune is set in our universe, it's so far in the future that it feels almost like a completely different reality. So mystery number 4. How are there millions of Fremen in Arrakis? So the idea that millions of Fremen can survive on this desert world Arrakis seems impossible at first, but it actually makes sense once you understand how perfectly adapted they are to the desert. The Fremen don't live like off-worlders. They waste nothing at all. Their still suits recycle nearly all body moisture, meaning each person loses only a tiny amount of water each day to the atmosphere. On top of that, they store water carefully in hidden reservoirs like inside their sieges, collecting it over generations from the bodies of the dead even, and from rare sources like wind traps. They also don't spread out randomly. Instead, they live in tightly organized communities that conserve energy, food, and water. Even their bodies and habits have adapted over time, making them more efficient at surviving extreme conditions. So, while Arrakis looks barren, the Fremen have turned it into a hidden, carefully managed ecosystem that outsiders simply don't understand. Another big reason they can exist in such large numbers is that most of the Imperium completely underestimates them. The rulers of Arrakis, like House Harkonnen, assumes the Fremen are just small scattered tribes. They never imagine there are millions of them living deep in the desert in the southern reaches. This is partly because of the Fremen actively hiding their true population and their terraforming efforts. They even prevent satellites from being used to spy on the planet by secretly bribing the Spacing Guild from not allowing other houses to use satellites over this Dune planet. The guild depends on the spies for its navigators, and so if they can get more of the spice like from smuggling, they would do so, and they would happily oblige. And the Fremen controls a huge amount of it, so they use that as leverage. In exchange for spice, the guild agrees not to allow satellites over Arrakis. This keeps the southern deserts and the growing green areas, the places where the Fremen are terraforming, it keeps them completely hidden. Because of this secrecy, the Imperium never realizes how numerous and powerful the Fremen actually are until it's too late and they show up in their huge numbers and overtake the entire Imperium, of course with Paul Muad'Dib at the head of it. Okay, so now we come to number 5. Who are the ones of many faces? These are one of the biggest unknown threats introduced in Chapter House Dune, the last book, and they are deliberately left mysterious. We never get a clear, direct explanation of who or what they truly are. What is known is that they are an extremely powerful and advanced enemy force that exists outside the familiar structure of the old Imperium. They are believed to be connected to strange beings like Daniel and Marty, whom Duncan Idaho encounters. These are entities that seem to manipulate reality and use advanced versions of the Holtzman technology or effect in ways no one else understands. The name Many Faces hints that they can change identity, appearance, or even form, suggesting abilities far beyond normal humans, even face dancers, or even far superior to the Bene Lilacs. Because of this, they feel less like a known faction and more like something operating on a completely different level of evolution or existence. The reason the Honored Matre fears them so deeply is simple: they were losing to them. The Matre, who are usually shown as brutal, dominant, and nearly unstoppable, were driven out of their own territories and forced to flee back into the old Imperium. These enemies also created terrifying tools like the Feudars, which are genetically modified humanoid beings, and possibly even creating the weapon, which can destroy a planet with one shot, showing they could design specialized beings for war and heavy weapons of mass destruction. Even worse, the Matre don't fully understand them, which makes the threat even scarier. In Dune, knowledge is power, and facing an enemy you don't understand is the most dangerous situation of all. So the Ones of Many Faces stands as a looming, unresolved mystery, a powerful hidden force that even the strongest factions fear, and one that Frank Herbert never fully revealed, intentionally before the series ended, so as to leave something left to the mind to imagine. And we end here with number 6. What are the Crompton Ruins? So the mystery of the Crompton Ruins is one of the strangest and the most unsettling puzzles in the universe of Dune. On the surface, it begins like a classic alien discovery story. Explorers scanning the remote world of Crompton found what looked like an ancient artificial structure, clearly built, not natural, and thousands of years old. The shocking part was that, according to the Spacing Guild, no humans have ever visited that planet. That left only one exciting explanation. Maybe this was proof of alien intelligence here in this universe, something almost completely unheard of in Dune. The ruins were empty, silent, and lifeless, with only strange synthetic materials and traces of long-decayed machinery. It felt like walking into a ghost story written in metal and dust, something that had been there, built something incredibly advanced, and then vanished without a trace. But the mystery only deepens when that first explanation starts to fall apart. Later discoveries connected the ruins to Leader II Atreides, the nearly all-powerful God Emperor who controlled humanity for 3,500 years. The structure on Crompton was found to be almost identical in design to his secret node chambers in Arrakis, which are hidden places that could not be detected by prescient vision or normal technology. And that changes everything. If the ruins weren't alien, then somehow Leader II had ordered their construction on a planet the Guild never even touched. That raises even new, bigger questions. How did he send people there without anyone noticing? Why build such a structure so far away and then abandon it? And why leave no clear record behind? Instead of solving the mystery, the discovery makes it even more eerie. The Crompton Ruins stop being a story about unknown aliens and become something arguably more unsettling. Like, who made them? Who were the ones who made them? That is the question. And so with that, we come to the end of this video on the 6 biggest unsolved or unexplained mysteries of Frank Herbert's Dune universe. Now do hit the like button for support, and also for the ones holding their phones in their hands, well, if you see a hype option, press it. It might do something to push our content further. I don't know how it works, but apparently it might work, or it did, or it does work. Anyway, subscribe to be a part of Legion Notebook, and till the next time, take care, boys.